Okay, we're back. That video started going over the 15 minutes. I had to edit that very ending out. So I'm just going to redo this little part here because I had to lose it. So anyways, as we ended here, we needed to add the created slots into an array, right? So on close, we need to iterate through that array and destroy this array. Right, so but for this one we're going to use array get next. Right, so the current slots, we need a loop and a done. A loop and a done. And on the loop, the only thing we need to do is destroy the current slot, because we're going to reuse that variable, right? Now the result, current slot. As we're looping through that, we're going to destroy that, and I'll show you what that does. So we've gone into play mode. If I hit I have 10 slots. If I hit I destroy those 10 slots, right? 10, nothing there. I hit I build them. There's those 10 slots. I close it. I change this on the fly. I get 6. I destroy 6. Right? But we also want to display all the information. So we need to get into that. So, for example, we're going to stick him as the third one. And the apple, we need to give him a sprite. Don't mind all my lovely sprites. But he is now an apple. So, when we build these things, we're building the slot, right? We've created the slot and we're adding it to an array. We also want that slot to change its sprite and the quantity. Now we haven't made the list with the quantity, and I'll get to that after, right? Which is why I made an FSM called slot that has a reference to the icon. So that way we can come into here and we create this thing, and we're going to get the FSM game object. After we've created it, obviously, so we're going to store current slot. We've set parent. And again, I'm going to use my little trick where I take a slot over and we want the icon. And now I'm going to turn this back over to current slot. And we're going to call this variable the current slot icon. Right? And we need to also tell this icon what to be, right? So we need to link current slot icon to whatever is in here. So as we iterate through the collection, we need to keep this index number. That's going to be important because that's kind of a map of where to go, right? And we're going to change this from a finish. In fact, we're going to come down here, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually create a variable. We're going to create a null of the demo thing. This is going to be a null check. right? We're not going to give it any value. It's just going to be, here's an empty object. So we have the index, and we have from up here, we have the player. So what we're going to do is get array get. Well, I guess we've copied it over. So array the current collection at the index of current index, store it as slot check. Yeah, okay, so it did the right thing. So we're going to get that. And then we're going to go object compare. Right, so we're going to say slot check. We're going to get this slot, and we're going to compare it to our null. And if it's equal, then we're going to say done. And we're going to go back over here. And by done, I mean done. But if it's not equal, then there is an item there. And I accidentally hit a slash, but big whoop. And if there's an item there, then we need to change this icon, right? From this slot check. So we need to get property on the slot check, the icon sprite. And this is going to be to set sprite. Okay, so now we have that. Now we need to set that sprite. Now it's not a game object, is it? So current slot. So we're dealing with the current slot icon. UI sprite set sprite of current slot icon to set sprite. And we're just going to end it and go back over there. Right, we'll deal with the quantity after. So now, let's see what happens. Now I hit I. We've iterated through. This one wasn't null, so it's gone through and it's grabbed that data and it's changed it. Pretty nifty, huh? Let's check the time because I'm really horrible at that. We'll go for a little longer. So, and the other thing we need would be a quantity. You don't want to put things such as health and quantity in the scriptable objects. You don't want any data to change on these during runtime. You just want these as a data container. So for things like that, we're actually going to come along where we have an array of our items, but we need another array called quantities. And we're going to make this one an int, and it's going to be the same size. Okay, so ideally what these two lists now represent is this int is is a quantity of this item, right? So apple is number 2 on the elements. That would mean we have 5 apples. Obviously that's not the case right now for how this is set up, but I'm going to show you how we add that in. Right, so we have the getting of the sprite, and we get this. The other thing we need now, so we have the slot, we've gotten this. We need another one of these, but we do not want the slot. We want the quantity. And we're going to save this as current slot quantity. So now we're pretty much just going to do the same thing as this, right? We have the quantity. We now need to set that quantity. Only we're not doing a sprite like these are. This one's got the sprite to get. We need to get the quantity here, right? So we want, let's use that same trick, the inventory. Oh yeah, right, we can't use get FSM. Let's check the time, make sure we're not going over. Oh, cutting it close, cutting it close. So we need to, from the inventory, from quantities, at the current index of the requested from, type integer, store value to set quantity, right? So it's kind of the same idea of what this is doing, but we're doing it with an int, right? Now UI set text, move it down on the list of current slot quantity. Is that the right one? Check time. Got a minute and a half. Get FSM game object current slot quantity. That is what we're going for. So current slot quantity is now going to be to set quantity. Right? So we have 5. Let's test. We hit I. I really should change that, but there we have. We have 5 apples. Okay, so we'll see you in the next video.